they're subscribing.
Yes. So we just had a wonderful conversation about housing homeless veterans, housing
Hmm.
veterans, periods,
Hmm.
and contracts and procurement.
Yeah, yeah. It was a very good conversation. I think the greatest takeaway is showing that when the two elements combine,
Yeah.
you already being a person who's not only a national chairperson and coordinator for homeless veteran programs with regard to drawing that bridge between real estate owners, real estate controllers, and the homeless veterans, VAs, SSVF programs, but now I was able to come in and give the procurement side.
Yes.
um so it's basically it's a marriage made in heaven for people who really are serious about doing this and being able to understand all aspects of how it's done, from the SSVF side to the contracting side.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So for the past, and I know you've been doing it, how many years have you been working in contracts and procurement?
Oh my gosh, probably about 17 years now. A little bit over 20 years. No, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. I started. Well, you really technically your government career starts when you enter the military. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that'd be the late 90s for me.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, so in the 90s. So yeah, so from mid late 90s up until mid late 90s to mid 2000s, I was in the military, and then going into about 2009ish is when I switched over to the federal government. But my last few years in the military, I was doing acquisitions and procurement officer work because I got voluntold by my commander that I would be the acquisitions and procurement officer for the S4 shop. I didn't even know that we see enlisted. We didn't know that they had that stuff. The only people who knew about that on active duty were the officers and the warrants.
Uh-huh.
The warrants and and yes, usually like what CW3 and above to get to be able to have that kind of that kind of responsibility. But our chief, who was in charge of that, got relieved.
Mm.
And none of the other officers are, all of the other officers available had too much on their plate.
Yeah.
So who's it going to next? With the next NCO in charge.
Uh-huh.
So after that, I left and got picked up by FEMA.
Uh-huh.
Um, right when they were doing a cleanup for Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
not right when they were about 3 years into it.
Uh-huh.
Well, Katrina hit, I was still on active duty,
Yeah.
but then about 3-4 years into the recovery efforts, FEMA was full fledged. FEMA had like a 8,000 man operation in New Orleans and Southeast Louisiana,
All on contract.
all on contract. And so I was working with FEMA. And then, of course, there was a lot of housing initiatives.
Yep.
And of course, they had an initiative to get veterans back up. And I mean, matter of fact, I will commend that whole New Orleans and Southeast Louisiana area. They get a bad rep
Mhm.
around the United States for a lot, but they take care of their veterans.
Let me tell you. So when Hurricane Katrina, started evacuating people, a lot of them came to Chicagoland area,
Oh
and
yes, oh yeah, oh yeah.
and they were in my catchment area. So guess who was contacted? Me,
Hmm.
and I got them housed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they came with funding. Yeah,
Hmm.
so yeah, those were some trying days, but I tell people, realtors especially, they always ask you that, how do you house homeless veterans? How do you get paid? Somebody's paying for them to live somewhere. And
Absolutely.
and where they're living, somebody is receiving that funding. Who's
Hmm.
receiving the funding? The landlord, the investor, the whoever's
Hmm.
name is on that deed or on that bank account, on that
Hmm.
W-9, that's who's receiving the funding. I'm a
Yep.
realtor. I'm going to give you a contract. I'm representing somebody in this transaction. And as
Hmm.
I'm representing somebody in this transaction, You landlord, you owner, you're paying me
That's
my
right.
commission on that contract that you received from from Housing Choice Voucher or
Mhm.
from Feather Fist or from any of the SSVF organizations. So you're receiving money, so you're
Mhm.
paying me as a realtor. Now, Derek, you're here to tell investors and private owners, builders, they want to get the big bag. They want
Yes.
to position their real estate
Their
to
entire property. Mhm.
yes.
Yeah, they want to basically do a roll up of the whole property as
Mhm.
opposed to having to have a property and then let the veterans trickle in through their different vouchers and
Right.
program approval letters and such. And like we said, there are so many different aspects of this. So just
Mhm.
now, of course, as you know, once again, for those of you just tuning in, I noticed the numbers changing.
Yeah.
You already know Miss Yvette Jones Swanson, national chair. I'm gonna say that a million times. National chairperson
I gotta
for
write that down.
homeless veterans housing programs. She covers SSVF and all of the all of the various dynamics
Hmm.
by which homeless veterans are housed
Yeah.
into different types of living situations. What even that covers everything from HUD VASH to co-living to care homes. I'm leaving a bunch of them out there, but y'all understand where I'm coming from. Well, the procurement side
Hmm.
is when you want to get an entire building leased to the government, and then the government pays a fixed rate for that entire facility. And then the government manages the program from within. Now, here's what's funny. Here's what's ironic about that. Even when they do that, it
Uh-huh.
still has to come through SSVF.
Yes, it does.
Let
Yes,
me
it
explain.
does.
I was gonna say, let me explain. Because see what people are thinking, they're thinking that if the VA procures their building in a contract, and we use that term procure because acquisitions and procurement, that is basically just another way to say that the government acquires equipment, supplies, commodities, and real estate
Hmm.
by way of contract. That's all acquisitions and procurement means. So to acquire, procure, to buy. Acquisitions, procurement, purchasing, same thing. That's
Hmm.
just the government. The government got to spruce everything up.
Right.
So with that being said, with that being said, it's not as fancy as it sounds. However, there are so many layers to this to where you need a consultant, you
Hmm.
need a coach, you need a mentor to get through this, so that the government will even take you serious. All right. But with that being said, so this aspect is when you actually have an entire property, an entire facility that can be a repurposed nursing home,
Yep.
a vacant hotel that you want
Yep.
to repurpose, an apartment complex, or a house like this one that I live in.
Yep.
It just depends on the dynamics in which your program is set up,
Yep.
right? Which veteran population you want to serve. Now, let's say the VA or Department of Defense says, okay, we want to just go ahead and put your entire building under contract. Okay, yes. Here's how that works. All right. So look, you go through that process. I'm not gonna tell you all of the different layers because that takes a consultancy, right? So
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you the abbreviated version.
Right.
So we get you through the bidding process, the proposal process. You get your notice of award, notice to proceed. Now, yes, the government is paying you you're getting paid a lease, right? However, for those veterans to come in, they still have to go through a Miss Yvette Jones, because even though there's a check coming in for that whole building, and that's the benefit of this route. You get a blanket check for the whole building, but however, in order for those veterans to get sent in and out, in order for them to get filtered through, they still have that still has to flow through a coordinator who is already certified and who's already been noticed, who's already been affirmed as a professional in that space.
Yes.
So when you're dealing with veteran homes, there is no way around. Even if you do the procurement route, there's still no way around in Yvette Jones Swanson. Just so y'all know, the only difference is where I come in at. I just show you how to navigate that route if you have a whole facility or a whole building that you want to put on the contract. Because whenever you're dealing with that type of asset,
Hmm.
it must go through the government procurement system.
Yeah. So you said something real important that I want people to understand. And we're not going to get into all of it because there's so many layers to even getting you to. First, you have to have an LLC. That's
Hmm.
number one. You have to
Yes.
be all set up, and then you get to talk to um, well, you're going to get to talk to both of us on a consultation because you're going to want government funding, and then you're going to want to know where are these veterans, and then what's the population of
Hmm.
veterans who you're going to service. What type of facility are you going to operate in order for you to receive this funding? But again, where are you going to get these veterans from? So there's a list. I don't know how many pages. I'd have to look at them again. They don't have page numbers on here, but this all of these pages here are from A to W. From what's the first state? AK. What's that? Arkansas.
It's Arkansas. Yeah,
Okay, so
Arkansas,
Arkansas
Arkansas,
is the first state, and WV is.
West Virginia.
So it goes from A to W, and all of these organizations have received millions of dollars. These are the organizations that have the money right now that Derek Green is talking to you about, acquiring this money in order to get to me to use that money
Hmm.
to house unhoused homeless veterans or
Yep.
any other type of program that you're looking to do while they're in your facility that has just received, listen to this, some of this contract money in Louisiana of the Star Corporation, $1,807,402. That's the type of money Mr. Green is talking about. You
Yeah.
have to get that money in order to use it to house the unhoused homeless veterans.
And you
But
know what?
then
And yeah,
you got to know where they are. That's
Star
why you need me.
Corporation. Star Corporation got a special place in my heart because when I had to transition back to New Orleans,
Hmm.
I was a couch surfer.
Hmm.
Couch surfer is a component of the homeless veteran population.
Yes, it is.
If you're a couch surfer, you are homeless.
Yeah.
You're not your name is not on a mortgage or a lease.
No.
Or I mean, or you're not married to someone who's on a mortgage or lease, whatever, right? You're not one of the you're not one of the shot callers
Right.
in that living situation. Then, but if you're not one of the shot callers in that living situation, or a dependent of
Hmm.
one of the shot callers, you're homeless.
Yep.
You know.
So I was couch surfing. I was in my early 20s, and my best friend from high school, she had her own apartment because she had a job working for the
Mm-hmm.
city of Chicago. I didn't have a good paying job. So I was couch surfing at her place, and she told me her boyfriend was coming over, and I had to leave. That's homeless.
Wow.
Couch surfer is
Yeah.
homeless. You could be
Yeah.
told to leave. He just said it real nice.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You know what? I didn't even consider that aspect. Like somebody tell you that you can come lay their head, but okay, it's time for me and my significant other to do what we do in our private time. So now you have to go find somewhere to
Yeah,
be. That's
yeah,
pretty sad.
it was. It
Hmm.
So I get it, and I've been housing homeless, unhoused veterans for the past 22 years, and I've met homeless, unhoused veterans who came from all different types of walks of life. Some of
Hmm.
them really lived in one lived in the forest preserve
Wow.
in a tent with 2 gallons of water, and I say, why? How did you do that? And he told me exactly how he did it.
Mm.
And I housed one who lived in a U-Haul facility, and he was in a motorized wheelchair. He lived there for a year. I housed homeless veterans who lived in abandoned properties,
Mm.
and they just didn't know about. the benefits.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I was talking to somebody earlier today. I don't know why veterans get out of the military homeless. Well, being released, discharged from the military, you're being discharged from your job.
Mm-hmm.
Job is
Mm-hmm.
over. So now you have to find more resources. What's your resource going to be? You're going to go get a traditional job. You're going to apply for a disability. What are you going to do? So it's on you now to find your resources.
That's right. That's right. And just to help people have a little more empathy
Hmm.
for that aspect. They're not what they see the average civilian, right? They're thinking like, okay, well, why not just stay in the military until you know that you have a job? Okay, it doesn't work that way. You have what's called a reenlistment window,
Hmm.
and you have to let your command know whether or not you're going to reenlist or get out.
Right.
Okay, you have to make a decision whether you have a job or not.
Yeah.
If you don't decide to reenlist within that window, you're out.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who know that they don't want to reenlist and commit their lives another 3, 4 years or more, they
Uh-huh.
say they have to take their chances and hopefully they have a job lined up. But if they don't, they have to keep getting out, because if they hurry up and run back to their command and say, I changed my mind, well, now you just committed 4 more years.
So
because
that.
because because your that re-enlistment window, you have a window to be able to do a 2 and 3 year enlistment, and if you wait to the last minute, that's how they get you. If you Because they hope that you wait to that last day
Mhm.
before you ETS. You can call them, you can actually change your mind, but what happens is your options close, and they say, okay, now you want to stay in because you have 1 day left. You didn't got scared. You don't have nothing lined up on the outside. Now
Mhm.
you have to stay in at least 4 more years. No more options for a 2 or 3 year reenlistment.
Yeah. So now that's one type of veteran
Mm-hmm.
who is discharged
Mm-hmm.
with nowhere to go. That's one type. So I've also housed that type of veteran too.
Mm-hmm.
I've housed my own husband. I housed him after um retiring after
Mm-hmm.
37 years unhoused because of what you just said.
Yeah.
And he had to retire. His contract, no more reenlistment. It's time
Mm.
for you to go. You
Oh
aged out.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That happens too.
Right. So now you don't have time to go look for anybody, to go look for any place. What do you do? So yeah, yeah. So that's part of my catchment area.
Mm-hmm.
Any veteran, I don't care if how a veteran became homeless, I can get them housed. Simply
Mm-hmm.
because I know where the resources are. I know where
Mm-hmm.
the resources are for their rent to be paid. I know where the resources are, where they're going to live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why I've been so successful in the past 22 years of housing homeless veterans, because it's putting those pieces together. Who has the money? Those SSVF organizations,
Yep.
HUD, the
Mm-hmm.
trickle on down to all these organizations all around the country from A to W.
Yep.
So that's the bag. And now these veterans are looking for some place to live. Look no further. Missy Vet got you. So I know where your money is and I know where you're going to live. Bam. I'm a
Yep.
realtor.
Yep.
Because I'm married to two, I get 100% commission. I don't have to go ask another realtor, do you have anything? Do you have anything? No, because I know how to gather up people. I know how
Mm-hmm.
to train people. I know how to educate them on getting this money and how you can get more. But now
Mm-hmm.
you're here talking about how they can acquire property or have a property and get all the money as
Mm-hmm.
one of these agencies on this $1 million, on this $3.2 billion list. Let's talk about that. Oh, we did have some more questions. Let me ask you another question, Mr. GovCon. You
Right.
procurement. Hold on. What's your title? CPPO.
Yeah, yeah, CPPO, Certified Public Procurement Officer.
That's right.
And
Um,
by the way, by the way, y'all, that is the highest certification in the government contracting and procurement world.
so y'all working with some pros, y'all get us. So now, I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to pick number three. What are the key compliance and regulatory factors that businesses must meet to win government real estate contracts? Government real estate contracts. That's
Hmm.
all of these agencies on this list.
The biggest thing I will say, now, of course, we know if it's solicitation based, the good thing about that aspect is that the solicitation is going to already have all of the line items, right? Okay, not because I'm saying good because there's a bad part of it too, which is
Yeah.
why you need consultants.
Right. That's
But
that's why I was shaking my head
right,
like,
so I'm gonna give you the good part of it. They'll have maybe every solicitation is going to have a part that says specific requirements. It's going to say unique. It's going to say unique requirements or specific requirements. Right now, we take that. Okay, that may have 20 line items on it. Right.
mhm.
However,
Yep.
you can read through those line items and say, okay, you know what? All we got to do is keep up with these line items, right? But then you soon realize that the government has its own version of everything. So
Exactly.
you may read a line item that makes sense to a civilian or someone who has never been a Fed. And when I say a Fed, meaning you've been in any kind of government agency or branch of military,
Uh-huh.
and you will quickly realize, oh wow, I thought this meant this. I'm looking right at it. It says, it literally says to make sure that the sprinkler systems are recent, right? It
Right.
literally says that. But when a government, for example, when a government says to make sure that they're recent, that could, for the government, that could mean within that you've had them expected within 2 weeks, and you've had not only OSHA but you've had DPW come, because you're
Right.
gonna say, well, we had the fire marshal come look at it. The fire marshal just came and looked at it. Yeah, but did DPW from the military base come look at it?
Hmm.
They
Because
don't.
right, because
So
that's
that
a whole government contract that you're trying to get.
exactly. So they already have their people in place and who they recognize.
Hmm.
So that's just one example. So you're looking at it to where, yeah, it looks like it's in layman's terms and it makes sense to the average everyday reader, but the government has their own way of doing things
Right.
for reasons, because they have to be compliant. They have to keep continuity with the way they've been doing things since before our great grandparents were here, which is why they're not about to change their language, because they'd have to change every regulation in every agency,
Yeah.
and they're not doing that. So they're just going to go ahead and keep their modified English for continuity purposes, even
Uh-huh.
if it feels inconvenient to you.
Right.
They're not adjusting to you. You have to adjust to them.
And that's why you need consultants.
Hmm.
Especially somebody, well, that's why you need Derek Green, because that's what he does for umpteen years. And now once you acquire this contract, guess what? The government is not going to say, when you have this contract, here are the veterans. They're going to give them to you in your hand. They're not going to do that. It's up
Mm-mm.
to you to market your
That's it.
facility.
That's it. You have to market it. And what's funny, they're not gonna tell you once you get it, but they will do their site visits to see if you're actually doing what you said you were gonna do.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing: if you're a smart investor, this is another component of an answer to a question that was asked. If you missed the earlier live feed, if you
Mhm.
missed the show, which is currently on display behind Yvette's head right now,
Right.
right? Um, yep. So go back and watch the show, because there's some valuable gems on there. But
Uh-huh.
for example, there's so many different layers to this thing. Here's another good example. The reason why you want a consultant, because that consultant is likely to become your project manager, so that when you get awarded a contract, you remain compliant so that you can sustain it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of folks don't understand, you can get awarded those millions of dollars like Stark Corporation that Miss Yvette just talked about. But guess what? You can lose it just as fast as you got it if you don't have somebody who understands how to respond to government incidentals.
Mm. So now you just brought, I didn't know you were going to talk about government incidentals. I was going to say, I have seen, and because I have worked with organizations here in Chicago that lost their contracts
Hmm.
because they didn't know how to sustain it. They didn't know. You have to have a steady flow in order for you to use this money. You have to have somebody to use the money on. And
That's
if
right.
you
Yeah,
and
it's
then
you can't take it and go finance a Rolls Royce. It doesn't work that way.
right. No, you can't do that. And this is big bucks. Somebody
Hmm.
got an even $2 million. Who was
Hmm.
that? That was Clear Path for Veterans, New England in MA in Boston, Massachusetts.
Hmm.
A clear $2 million. So this is money that is used to change veterans' lives. It can change your life as an entrepreneur, where you
Hmm.
have your you got to talk to your attorneys, because we are not that. But you
Hmm.
talk to your attorney about setting up an LLC and a not-for-profit organization, because some of these organizations are both. They have both um, types of businesses, because there's different types of money. You have your
Hmm.
contract, you got your contracting money, you have your grants and per diem.
Hmm.
So in order for you to get a grant, you have to have this 501c3.
Yes. Yes.
In
Yep.
order for you to get contracts, you have to have that LLC. Am I saying that right or
That's
wrong?
right. And that LLC had better be respected in the U.S. government system of award management, SAM.gov, as well as the SBA. And we're the ones in that. And you better have a cage code. That cage is an acronym for commercial and government entity. Just because you're in SAM.gov doesn't mean you've been approved for a cage code. That's a whole other conversation.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of these lives. I'm
Hmm.
sure we've been on for almost 30 minutes. I don't know, we can do in 30 minutes, we can do an hour, but I think what we need to do is set it up every week that we're going to have a talk like this, because
Yeah.
it's important. People are really looking to help in the veteran housing space, but don't know what to do and don't know how to get started, don't know,
Hmm.
so, and that's why we're here.
Hmm.
We help write your plan for you. That's a consultation.
Yep.
We help you.
The capability statements,
Thank you.
because that needed, which needed on a procurement side. Hmm.
And we help you decide what type of housing fits you best, because
Hmm.
everybody can't have a foster care home. Everybody doesn't want, veterans just living in your home and they're like your foster kid. You
Yep.
got to take them everywhere. You got to do everything. Some people might want to open a care home. Hold on. I have a book on Amazon to help people get the information to open a veteran care home. You can't even see it.
Beautiful.
Right, a veteran care home as an
Hmm.
entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, guess who's paying you? The government.
That's right.
Now, and you have to be set up in you have to be set up properly in order to receive that funding.
That's
And
right.
that's what we do. We can talk your face off, your ears off, but you still won't know how to do what we do. It's a lot of work.
That's what we're here. But I'll tell you one thing, it's worth it. A lot of people's like, man, I gotta pay. Well, guess what?
Mhm.
It's worth it, because we'll see when there. I will say this on a good to leave this on a great note. There are plenty of people who have the perseverance to go through this process,
Mhm.
and guess what? They're millionaires.
Yeah.
They're millionaires because they're millionaires, and they don't have to watch their back about possibly winding up in federal prison for from doing anything fraudulent, the fraudulent way. They got with consultants like Yvette and myself. They got their programs going. Next thing you know, they expanded, got multiple programs going. They're doing right by the veterans. They're
Mhm.
staying compliant. They got their not only did they get their consultants, but they've also decided to hire their consultants on permanently as project managers,
Yes.
and they're literally millionaires with this.
Yeah.
So there's no limit to how far you can go with it. So that's, so the process may sometimes come across as tedious,
Mm.
but how far you can go with it is what makes it
Mm.
worth it.
Right. And
Hmm.
it's really, it's an unlimited source of clientele. When you think about it, you have veterans who are entering into the military every day, and you have veterans who are being discharged every day. You have
Hmm.
veterans who are living amongst us who need to know about their benefits, who you can assist and help in getting that, and they can become a tenant of yours. You
Hmm.
got veterans, senior veterans who need a place to stay in a care,
Hmm.
because they don't want to be in a nursing home. They want to be in a loving family facility, but not in a foster home where you
That's
have to
right.
take care of them. They're still independent. They still might drive. They want to go to the
Hmm.
mall. They want to go on a cruise, but they don't have a family. But now they have a home to live in. That's a family-like setting. That's a care home,
That's right.
independent living home. And then you've got veterans who are being released from incarceration. I've housed them too. Veterans,
Mm,
you know, traffic,
yeah.
child support,
Yeah.
some of them misdemeanors that got caught up. One of them I had to house,
Hmm.
he had to be 500 feet away from a school or whatever. And I did pull him to the side. I said, "Tell me how you got this on your record." And
Mm,
he did, but he still had to have some place to live. I
yeah.
housed a veteran who had 170 police hits on his background.
Wow.
You
Mm,
know how I got him housed? He had funding, and I had an investor who had an investment property who needed a tenant. This was a single family home, a 2-bed, 1 bath. He had
hmm.
a fiduciary that paid his rent for him every single month, paid him all the bills for him. And he was like, "Straight, I get my money automatic. So yeah, let's go." So and it takes the knowledge of a person like me. I'm not saying I'm the only one who does it, but I do it very well. I've housed over 5,000 homeless veterans and have created thousands of housing plans for unhoused veterans and individuals who want to build veteran villages.
Well, I'll tell you this, Yvette. You may say that I listened to you being a little modest just now, saying how you're not saying you're the best, but I'm gonna tell you this: I've been all over the world. I lived all over the country. I've worked for the VA for various years, and you're the first person I met who does it at the level that you do it at. So so I hear you when you say that when you say that you're not the best, but I've met a lot of them. I've
I
met a
didn't say
lot of
I
people.
wasn't I didn't say I wasn't the best. I said I wasn't the only one.
Oh, the only, okay, because I remember I worked inside of that agency, and
Right.
I knew a lot of people who did it well, but none who did it at the level that you do it at.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot.
Thank you.
So I'm a matter of fact, myself, my company, Sky Acquisitions, our entire handle, GovCon, I don't even know my page, GovCon Empire. We are proud to be in partnership with VetMentors LLC.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we, usually we just like you and I had a conversation offline where we talked about people who offer these partnerships, right?
Mm,
Kind of like as a way to backdoor the consulting route, right?
right.
And you talked about how, let's say, you're not about to hoodwink me, but that's funny because I was saying the same thing. I was like, I
Hmm.
don't need no partnership. What?
Right.
I'm the one bringing the expertise to the table, and
Right.
I'm bringing the relationships and the knowledge and the know-how. So this partnership is what me helping you get contracts. Okay,
Right.
but when I met you, I said, okay, this is an honest
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
mutual thing to where she does her lane at an exceptional level, I do my lane, and both of these lanes intersecting can't do anything but make both of these initiatives stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that being said, this is
Hold
the
on.
first person that I actually care to have an actual partnership with.
Yeah, same here. I get a
Hmm.
lot of people contacting me, and just as early as this morning, my very first phone call was somebody saying they're looking for mentorship. They're looking for partnership. What's the partnership?
I
What are you
heard that.
bringing to help elevate what I'm already doing? That's a consultation. What is it that you want to do in this community?
That's it.
That's a consultation. It's not a partnership. I'm not looking to help you build, and because that's not what I'm doing with you.
Yeah, it's about it's
Oh,
this. Yeah, this is about making sure you have what you need to help veterans. And in
yes,
order for you to do that, it's proper for you to come in and get a consultancy, and so that Miss Yvette can help you get to where you're trying to go, so that we can help our nation's veterans.
right. Yeah, we're
That's
not
right.
looking to partner with everybody, with anybody. We are consultants.
That's right.
We are partners right here. Not everybody who's coming, well, I want to do this housing and we can be partners. What type of partners? You want me to bring all the work and what? So you want me to bring all the solutions and
Mm-mm.
what? And now you get all the contracts. I don't get that. So yeah, people will learn.
Yeah.
You're gonna hire me as a consultant. You're gonna hire Mr. Green as a consultant, and we're gonna help you
Yep.
bring your business higher and
That's
higher.
right. That's right.
That's it. That was a good talk. Let
It
me
was
see.
a great. It was an excellent conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess
So,
I'll finally commence to. I'm supposed to be doing something this evening. I'll remember in a few minutes.
all right. I know I went downstairs and I'm looking around like, what did I come down here for? Literally, I'm turning around trying to remember. I came back upstairs. I said, oh, yeah, my lipstick.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. Well, we have to get a banner. I like what's behind, the green screen, what's behind me.
I like
Um,
that too.
yes.
I need to get me a green screen also. I'm actually. You know what?
You're,
I decided to sit in my living room today because I'm always in my office. So I
yeah.
needed a change.
I
It's
love that
uh
chandelier.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And that's in Texas. Oh wow. Ooh, that looks like a hotel lobby. See, that's that contracts and procurement money right there.
Yeah, it was funny. People probably think I'm in a hotel until I say, "Oh no, it's a house.
Right,
It's
right.
it's a house. It's a house.
Oh,
It's a
oh,
house. Yeah,
so
yeah, it's
beautiful.
kitchen and all that stuff. I mean, I got the lights and everything off, but no, it's my
Uh-huh.
house.
Uh-huh. Look at you. See, that's what we help people do. You want to get some money. You need
This
to hire a
this
consultant who can get you there.
and I can tell you, I can put this on God and on my brother's grave. Me getting this house, it did come from procurement money,
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
See that?
Hmm.
Good. I appreciate it. So let's get our schedule together. We'll talk offline so we can have a weekly housing. I'm
Yes,
writing it down. Housing plus veterans, contracts and procurements,
yes.
conversations. And we can take questions. We'll have our questions that we can ask each other and we can elaborate on those. So next time I'll have my list of questions so you can ask me. You have to go now because we have a couple people watching. I can ask you one more. Oh, here's one. Let's talk about this one real good. What are the advantages of working with the SD, VOSB, or other set aside certified business in the procurement process?
Oh my goodness. That's a good. I'm so glad they asked that. That's
That's a
man.
juicy
Let me explain. Here are the benefits.
one.
When the government wants to put a property through the procurement system, in other words, when the government is looking for a vendor, a contractor, which in this case is a property owner, someone who controls a property, owns a property, or has access to a property.
Yeah.
Those of us who have the SD, the Service Disabled Veteran Owned Small Business endorsement,
Hmm.
they come to, if we're controlling a property or we have access to a property or own it, the government has to come to us first before they go to the open market. That's one advantage. And even in cases where they don't need to, they're going to come to us first before they go to the open market. And last but not least, the top 3% of contracts, right? In terms of the quality of that contract, of that procurement item, goes to us. And only we have access to the top 3% of those VA Department of Defense contracts. So there is a top tier category, a top tier level of contracting opportunities, the top 3% that they reserve only for us.
Hmm.
It's like a 3% club, almost like the country club, basically. Only service disabled veteran owned businesses have access to that. And then two, like I said before, they come to us first. They come to us first for procurement solutions before they go to the open market.
Yeah.
An open market means everybody else who's in the contracting system. That's
Yeah.
the open market. Because if you're not in the contracting system, you don't exist.
Right.
So the open market means people who are already in the contracting system, just like us. It's just that they don't have the endorsement we have.
Uh-huh. So who has that endorsement?
Veteran service disabled veteran owned small businesses.
And you and I both have that
We have
endorsement.
that. We
Mhm.
both have that. Vet
Yep.
Mentors LLC has it, and so does Sky Acquisitions, which is my company.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
So
now,
I'm glad they asked that question. It's very important. Oh, here's one more benefit.
uh-huh.
It's the only endorsement that Doje has decided not to come for.
See that? And we get that. And we get
Doje has already they've put every other endorsement on a chopping block. Minority owned,
yeah.
Asian owned, black owned, woman owned, Indian owned, all that. They put that on a chopping block already. But they can't, but everybody said, nope, don't touch the veterans.
Yeah. So we worked hard to get that
Mm-hmm.
endorsement,
Mm-hmm.
to get that certification and all the other certifications that we have. I have 13 of them. And all
Mm-hmm.
that you mentioned, I have those. And now they've been because that's part of the what the DEI,
DEI.
really.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yep.
So because we are service disabled veteran owned small businesses, we put in the work and got
Mm-hmm.
we qualified, but we still had to put the work in order to get awarded
Yeah,
that certificate.
I had to give a class one day on what that means. One guy thought that as long as he has his award letter as a disabled veteran, whether it's 100%, 70%, that once he registers his business, he also, he the certifying agency, which is either the VA or the SBA, it was the VA, now it's the SBA. It's probably going to go back to the VA, which it should. They
Mm.
shouldn't have turned that over to the SBA. SBA sucks, but that's another conversation. That's offline.
All right.
But the agency, basically, what I'm saying is that the agencies that certify that particular one is the VA and the SBA, right?
Mhm.
Well, um, the government, they're going to they're going to make sure that your business has already performed at a certain level before you
Yeah.
even get that certification. You don't just get it because you're a disabled vet, or because you're 100% disabled and you have a business.
Right.
Doesn't work that way. They have to see that you've already been reputable in that space
Mhm.
before they give us that endorsement.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say, well, I'm service disabled veteran and I own a business. Don't I get the cert? Oh yeah,
Mm,
after proving that you've been reputable in that space for a few years.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're
Yeah.
checking financials, they're checking taxes. They also verify that you do that full time.
Yeah.
So if they investigate and find out that you have a 9 to 5,
Right.
they say, well, why are we certifying your business if you're a 9 to 5 worker?
Right.
All of that has to be vetted. I mean, yeah, and they will do site checks if need be to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're at that address that's on your business, that you're not working for some company or business somewhere else.
Right. And using your certification for and companies have been fined for
Hmm.
doing that.
Yep. Yep.
It has to be you, and you have to go through, sorry to say, those hoops.
Yeah.
And
So yeah,
yeah, so we
so it's a
both did.
process.
Yeah. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah,
They wanted to see how many veterans, what you want to see. I got it all because we've been here in the trenches, and that's how we are able to get that certification.
that's right.
So I'm writing down our weekly, and then we'll announce veterans. I should say homeless, because that's what we are combating: homelessness amongst our veteran
Hmm.
population. So housing plus homeless veterans
Hmm.
on
Yep.
one line, and then contracts and procurement conversations, because it basically that's what it is until we're hired to be the
That's
consultant.
right. And I'm so glad you said the housing piece because for years, I did the consulting thing for all of the different types of contracts as well. So yeah, am I capable? Yeah, but Sky Acquisitions, we're actually pivoting into the real estate aspect of government contracting.
Mhm.
So yeah, for those out there wondering, well, I wonder if he can talk to me about my engineering, about my trucking company or my this company. Unfortunately, Sky Acquisitions has moved away from consulting outside of the real estate aspect. We realize that we have a niche that's more so purpose driven.
Yes.
And so, however, if you're interested in contracting for other types of companies, I specialize in that too, but I'll refer you to one of my other partners out there.
Yeah.
And we can just go from there. So if you're on any of our live feeds, this is specifically geared towards housing veterans and the overall real estate aspect of government contracting.
Yes. And we'll put that on our marketing
Yeah.
with that language.
Yeah, so it's I know it's going to come eventually when they say, well, if he's a government contracts guy, that means I can talk to him about my IT company or my trucking company.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I only want to talk real estate as it relates to government contracting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I only want to talk veterans as it comes to housing.
exactly. So that's the connection.
Hmm. Housing veterans from homeless to homeowner, to helping them become investors and business owners and contractors.
Yep, that's right.
So it's a marriage made in heaven. Yeah, because that's the piece I've always been missing. I can lead veterans, homeless veterans, to housing in the community and know where the money is coming from. But when I have a veteran, an investor who says, "Well, I want my whole building to be a veterans village," well,
Yep,
then
yep. That
you
that's
have
a yeah, that's a procurement. Yep,
right.
yep.
So you need somebody other than me. Once we get your building set up to receive those contracts, then that's when you
Hmm.
need me to
Hmm.
fill it up as a consultant and as a realtor. Don't,
Hmm.
because those are two different payments.
That's right.
I'm a consultant. We're both we're SBA certified and
Hmm.
VA verified. The
That's
VA,
right.
they had me go through hoops just to get a badge. They vetted
That's right.
me, and I've been housing homeless veterans now for 22 years as a realtor. And as a consultant in the community, now they're saying, well, we want to make sure your background is clear. And so I had to get fingerprinted,
Mm-hmm.
picture taken. That's why I'm on here, picture taken. I had to go to the doctor for, they tested me for something.
Mm.
They had to do blood to test me for TB. I don't know what they were testing me for. Then they wanted to know, when was my last COVID shot? Am I getting
Mm-hmm.
another one? When was my last pneumonia
Mm.
immunization? So
Wow.
all of that, we have to go through a lot to be vetted and to be certified and verified. So when
That's
you
right.
say you want to do this business, then yeah, you're definitely going to hire a consultant, because
I
we didn't jump
agree.
through these hoops just to say, okay, you can have it.
Mm-mm. That's right. That's right. Well, I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right, you got somewhere to go.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. But that's okay because we'll be back at it by tomorrow or the day after.
Yes.
I'm sure Yvette is going to be putting on our schedule. Um, and we're looking forward to just getting to know everyone and
Hmm.
us coming together collectively.
Hmm.
I've been talking so much today, these words can't get through my big lips. But we we'll be coming together collectively to serve our veterans by way of SSVF procurement and every other variant that is available out there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I should have written it down when you were saying it. Doggone it, I forgot. That's why I keep my pen in my hand and my notebook right here.
I'm gonna type it up. I'm gonna type it up and send it to you. I
Type
remember
what up.
what I just said.
Okay, good.
Hmm.
That was something. I have to.
I got photographic memory that'll last for like an up to about an hour after I talked about something
Oh, that's good.
in terms of verbatim. But if I go to the next day,
Yeah.
then I'll have to rephrase it. But
Okay.
if it's within like an hour or so after, I can pretty much dial up everything I talked about.
Uh-huh. Oh, he's in his own place. That's Che Gonzalez. Oh my God. So Che Gonzalez was a homeless veteran who didn't have the resources.
Congratulations, brother. Congratulations.
So he just texted me and told me, "Thank you for everything. I have my own place and it's near my mother." I wasn't the realtor on his I getting an apartment, and that's okay. That is quite okay. I was his advocate in getting him benefits for his housing. And
Mhm.
now, and I, like I tell realtors, I helped him get housed as a
Oh yeah.
homeless veteran by making sure he was aware of his benefits through SSVIA funding.
Nice.
What SSVF organization is out there that has funding to house this homeless, unhoused veteran who is couch surfing and living in his automobile?
Mm.
So now
Mm.
he's in school to get his degree while we'll be working on his credit and while we'll
Mhm.
be working on getting him his 100% service connected
Mhm.
disability pay. So when he graduates, he'll be ready to buy a house. Who is he going to call? He's already in touch with me as his
Yep.
realtor.
Already
So
got
that's
all the loyalty is already there.
yes, and that's
Yep.
how all of this works. You know, we help veterans from homeless to home ownership to becoming investors and business owners to go back out there and hopefully do some contracting work to house even more veterans. So I mean, it's just reciprocal. 22 years, man. Can you
That's
believe
right.
22 years
That-
housing homeless veterans?
That's right. That's right. I'm gonna keep running around. I got people trying to call, and I keep running my mouth. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna get my butt out of here.
All
I,
right, let me
all right.
figure out how to disconnect. I'm going to see about getting some of these clips too so we can repurpose this video.
Okay. Perfect. That sounds good to me.
All right. And we'll coordinate the schedule. That's it. Goodbye. Have a
Bye
great
bye.
night. Bye y'all.